Our public conversations are in a state of crisis. They're stuck. Everywhere we see individuals fiercely anchored in their beliefs, hurling words like stones across an impassable divide. The art of argument, once a skill finely honed through practice and patience, now seems a lost relic of a more deliberative age. In the spontaneous combustion of words, we've lost sight of argument's potential to enlighten and transform. It's time to reclaim this art form, to turn the tide from destructive clashes back to constructive dialogues. Today we will discuss the power of good arguments, to guide you through mastering the craft of arguing not just with effectiveness, but with elegance. The art of argument. Over the years we have learned that difficulties arise in the maze of misunderstanding that language and cultural barriers construct. Arguments became battlegrounds not just of words, but of identities. We discovered a sanctuary in structured argumentation, a realm where each voice is heard in turn, each perspective valued. This is the foundation upon which good arguments are built: mutual respect and careful listening. Here lies the first lesson. Argument is an art that must be diligently cultivated, requiring more than just natural instinct. It demands understanding. What makes an argument effective? It isn't merely about being right. It's about engaging right. Intelligence allows us to construct and deconstruct arguments rapidly, but wisdom teaches us which arguments are worth engaging and which parts of an argument are critical. This discernment is crucial, as every argument presents a myriad of paths and not all are worth traveling. To argue effectively, one must navigate this complexity with precision, focusing on the real issues at hand rather than getting lost in the peripheral. To aid in this journey, we have learned from a world debate champion who developed what he called the RISA framework, a method to evaluate whether an argument is worth your time and energy. Ask yourself these questions. Is this disagreement real or a mere misunderstanding? Is it significant enough to warrant engagement? Is the issue at hand defined clearly enough to allow for productive discussion? Are our goals aligned well enough to ensure a constructive debate? This framework doesn't promise victory, but it equips you to give each conversation the best chance for a meaningful outcome. Consider family gatherings, often a hotbed for disputes, where personal and political tensions surface. Here, the RISA framework can serve as your guide. Start by clearly defining what you disagree on. This simple act can prevent the argument from sprawling into uncontrollable territories. Assess why you are entering the argument and what you hope to achieve. This clarity can transform potential confrontations into opportunities for understanding, perhaps even changing minds, or at the very least, gaining mutual respect. The skill of a seasoned debater doesn't just lie in how they argue, but in what they choose to argue about. Each difference of opinion offers a chance to either bridge gaps or widen them. By carefully selecting which arguments to engage with and how intensely to defend or concede points, we can steer conversations towards more fruitful outcomes. Remember, not every disagreement needs to be a battleground. Sometimes the wisest move is to seek common ground. Fundamental to all effective arguments is the ability to listen. An active, engaged listening that seeks to understand the opponent's perspective as faithfully as they perceive it. In debate, they also practice what they call side switch exercises, where debaters prepare arguments from their opponent's point of view. This practice fosters empathy and can dramatically shift one's approach to argumentation, from combative to collaborative. Advanced techniques in argumentation. How can we transform an ordinary argument into an extraordinary dialogue? Mastery in arguing involves more than knowing the right words. It requires a strategic layering of techniques that elevates the discourse. Here we explore some advanced tactics that can significantly influence the outcome of your arguments, turning potential confrontations into opportunities for growth and insight. The power of a well-framed argument cannot be overstated. How you present your case can determine its reception. Are you framing your argument in a way that is accessible and resonant, or are you alienating your audience with jargon and aggression? Effective framing involves aligning your message with the values and beliefs of your audience, crafting your points in a way that bridges gaps rather than creating them. What if we could frame every argument as an opportunity for collective problem-solving rather than a zero-sum game? Persuasion is an art form that involves more than just logical reasoning. It engages the listener's emotions and values. How can we weave ethical persuasion into our arguments to foster agreement or at least respect? By appealing to the universal values we share, such as fairness, justice, and empathy, we can open doors that logical persuasion alone might not unlock. This segment discusses how to integrate logos, ethos, and pathos, providing a holistic approach to persuading with integrity and impact. Complex arguments present unique challenges. They require us to think critically and respond swiftly. How do we manage the intricacies of complex debates without losing our way? One effective method is the breakdown technique, where we dissect the argument into manageable parts, addressing each component with precision. This approach helps prevent the overwhelm that often accompanies complex arguments and ensures that you cover all bases without sacrificing depth for breadth. In every argument, the potential for conflict looms. But what if we viewed these conflicts not as obstacles but as catalysts for deeper understanding? Conflict resolution skills are paramount in turning heated arguments into harmonious discussions. This involves strategies such as mediation, finding common ground, and fostering an environment where each party feels heard and valued. How can we apply these conflict resolution techniques to ensure that our arguments are constructive rather than destructive? Maintaining a productive dialogue, especially in prolonged arguments, requires stamina and strategy. How do we keep our conversations constructive over the long haul? Techniques such as pacing the dialogue, revisiting and reinforcing mutual goals, and employing reflective listening play crucial roles. This segment provides tips on sustaining engagement and enthusiasm throughout the argument, ensuring that all participants remain committed to a respectful and productive exchange. Beyond techniques and strategies, the ethics of arguing form the backbone of effective dialogue. How do we ensure our arguments are not just persuasive, but also principally sound? We must navigate the fine line between advocating forcefully for our beliefs and respecting the rights and opinions of others. This segment delves into the ethical considerations of arguing, such as honesty, transparency, and the duty to consider the broader impact of our words. Strategic adaptation in arguments. In the realm of debate, the ability to adapt strategically to the unfolding dynamics of an argument is critical. How do we adjust our tactics in response to new information or shifts in the opponent's strategy? Successful adaptability involves not only recognizing changes, but also understanding their implications quickly. This requires a high level of awareness and a readiness to shift your approach as needed. For instance, if you notice your opponent is particularly passionate about a point, it may be advantageous to explore this area more deeply rather than steering away. Adapting your stance doesn't mean abandoning your principles, but rather flexibly navigating the conversation to find the most effective way to communicate your ideas. We will cover methods to remain dynamically engaged, ensuring that you are always at the forefront of the argument's evolution. By mastering strategic adaptation, you position yourself to lead the direction of the debate, regardless of unexpected turns. Every argument has the potential to escalate beyond productive discourse into personal attacks or emotional outbursts. How can we de-escalate situations to maintain the integrity and effectiveness of the discussion? Key to de-escalation is the ability to remain calm and focused, even when tensions rise. Techniques such as pausing before responding, rephrasing contentious points for clarity, and explicitly acknowledging the other person's feelings can significantly reduce the heat of an argument. It's also effective to periodically summarize the discussion to ensure mutual understanding and alignment. This segment explores how to apply these techniques systematically to prevent and mitigate escalation in heated debates. By prioritizing calm and constructive interaction, we can keep arguments within the bounds of respect and productivity. De-escalation not only preserves relationships, but also opens up pathways to solutions that might otherwise be obscured by conflict. Emotional intelligence plays a pivotal role in crafting and delivering arguments that resonate deeply with others. How do we integrate emotional intelligence into our argumentative strategies to enhance our persuasiveness and connection with the audience? Understanding and managing your emotions and the emotions of others can transform the way you argue, turning potential confrontations into collaborative discussions. The first step is to assess both your emotional state and that of your counterpart. This awareness allows you to tailor your message in a way that is empathetic, yet assertive. Techniques such as mirroring the emotional tone of your opponent can create a sense of rapport and trust. This segment will delve into practical ways to harness emotional intelligence, emphasizing how to align emotional cues with logical arguments. By blending emotional savvy with rational discourse, we enhance our ability to communicate effectively and compellingly. Engaging in arguments with a long-term perspective requires foresight and planning. How do we approach arguments not just to win in the moment, but to build lasting influence and respect? Long-term argument strategies involve developing a consistent style and philosophy that others recognize and respect, even if they disagree with you. This includes building a reputation for fairness, thoroughness, and insight. Establishing credibility over time means that even when you lose a particular battle, you win respect, which is invaluable for future engagements. It's also crucial to learn from each argument by reflecting on what worked, what didn't, and why. This segment will provide guidance on cultivating your argumentative presence and capabilities over time, ensuring that each argument contributes to your overall growth and goals. By taking a long-view approach, we see beyond immediate victories to the broader impact of our engagement in discussions. We've delved into the mechanics and subtleties of effective argumentation, from strategic adaptations to the integration of emotional intelligence. Each component we've discussed builds towards a comprehensive mastery of argument that extends beyond mere technique. It encompasses an ethos of respect, empathy, and continual learning. As we navigate our world's complex social and political landscapes, the need for effective argumentation has never been more critical. Each of us holds the potential to contribute to a more reasoned, more understanding discourse. By embracing these principles of thoughtful engagement, we can transform how arguments are perceived and practiced. Let's not shy away from conflict but engage with it productively, making each argument not a source of division but a path to greater understanding.